the world has started paying more and more attention to the global south, as a long-standing FTA is all set to be signed between the European Union and Mercosur. Hello students, welcome to Drishti IAS. My name is Saloni Nandkyoliar, and in this session we will see what is so special about this FTA. So let's get started. Now before we talk about the highlights of this FTA, let me just quickly tell you that we have this new course for you, which is the Studio GS Foundation live online course. Now this is an extremely beneficial course because you are going to get a complete coverage of your UPSC prelims and main syllabus in Hindi, English and English at a very affordable price of only rupees 24,999. And if you wish to avail a further discount on this fee, then please use my coupon code, which is SALONI. SALONI, Saloni, all in block letters only, and you will be able to get the maximum discount on this fee. So hurry, as the admissions are already open. And another exciting feature of this course, apart from the affordability, is that if you wish to join the offline foundation batch at Drishti in future, then this complete fee is going to be adjusted in the fees of our offline foundation batch, which means that this course is going to be a practically free course for all the students who are planning to join the offline foundation batch at Drishti. So do not wait. For any more information, you can call us at 87501 and you can also download the Drishti Learning app and enroll into this course and use this coupon code to get the maximum discount. Now let's see what's happening in the European Union. So the European Union and Mercosur are all set to sign this FTA, which was long pending since 1999. So the negotiations started in 1999. In fact, they even concluded in December 2024 itself, but the voting happened just a couple of days ago, and that's when it was decided that this FTA is going to be signed between the European Union and Mercosur. But please note that not all EU members were on board. There are certain apprehensions that countries like France, Poland have, and we'll talk about those apprehensions later on. But right now we need to know that not all EU members were on board, but this FTA is going to be signed very soon. Now before we look at the details, at the highlights of this FTA, it is important to know what is Mercosur. So Mercosur actually is the trading bloc. It's the trading bloc, the fourth largest trading bloc after EU, NAFTA, North America Free Trade Agreement, and ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. We have Mercosur at the fourth position. It's the fourth largest trading bloc of Latin American countries. So we have countries like Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay and Uruguay, and subsequently this was also joined by Venezuela and Bolivia. But please note that Venezuela's membership was suspended in 2016 for an indefinite period, which means that right now Venezuela is not an active member of the Mercosur. And if we talk about the establishment of this bloc, then this was formed in 1991 by signing the Treaty of Asuncion, and the headquarters are in Montevideo, Uruguay. Now this is the static information about Mercosur. Now why is the European Union so interested in this region? It is because of the resources present in this region. Right now, all the nations are behind critical minerals, behind rare earth minerals, because of the uses that these minerals have across multiple sectors. And China holds a monopoly when it comes to these rare earth minerals. That is why these countries, these nations, trading blocs, they're wanting to diversify their options. And that's why this FTA, signing this FTA with Mercosur, becomes very important for the European Union also. And the world is shifting its focus now to the global south. If we talk about the resources that are found in this region, then Brazil here is home to 20% of the world's reserves of graphite, nickel, manganese and rare earths, as well as 94% of niobium. And niobium is very important for the aerospace sector. Brazil here is rich in resources. Then if we talk about Argentina, then Argentina is the third largest producer of lithium in the world. And lithium is important for our electric vehicles, our semiconductors, etc. So this region is rich in resources. That is why the European Union is also wanting to diversify its options, diversify its markets, and very soon this FTA is going to be signed. Now if we look at the key highlights over here, then Mercosur is going to remove duties on 91% of EU exports over a period of 15 years, and EU in turn is going to remove duties from 92% of Mercosur exports within a decade. So it's a win-win situation for both the trading blocks over here. A lot of goods have been included, and this is going to be beneficial for both the trading blocks in the years to come. In fact, the European Union has also established a crisis fund or an emergency fund to absorb any shocks in the short term which may be faced by the local farmers, local producers of the European Union nations, because there were certain apprehensions that I talked about in the beginning. That's why this fund, this crisis fund, has also been created by the European Union. Now let's see what is the opposition to the deal. Why are certain countries opposing this deal? So if we see, France, Poland, Austria, Hungary and Ireland, they voted against the deal, while Belgium abstained, and Italy, which was previously opposing the deal, it reversed its stance and now it supported the deal. But largely we see a lot of major countries over here opposing the deal. Now why were they opposing? Majorly because of two reasons. First was the agricultural concern, and second, the environmental concern. So I told you a lot of goods have been are going to be included in this FTA, and this is also going to include beef and poultry. And if we talk about agricultural products over here, then it is anticipated that the European Union nations are going to suffer, the domestic produce of the EU is going to suffer, because the imports that we get from South America are going to be cheaper in nature. They do not have to comply with a lot of safeguards. They have easily ready available use of fertilizers, pesticides, etc., which is not so prompt in the European Union region. And in return, the South American products are going to be cheaper in comparison to the EU products. That's why the farmers, the producers, the local farmers of EU are going to suffer, at least in short term. That's why this crisis fund is also being created by the European Union. But agriculture, the agricultural sector was one major reason because of which protests were happening in these countries. And the second reason is the environmental concern. Environmental concern, I told you that beef and poultry is also going to be included. In fact, some additional 90,000 tons of beef is going to be imported by the Mercosur region in the European Union. And beef is largely associated with deforestation of the rainforest, cutting off these trees, converting them into grasslands so that poultry, so that cows, they can all feed on it. So deforestation happens, which means we are going to lose our carbon sink. These rainforests, they act as carbon sinks. So we are going to lose out on our carbon sinks. There is going to be environmental concern that is associated with it. And the European Union nations, they have to comply with a lot of environmental standards, which is not the case with the South American nations, with the Latin American nations. That is why these countries were protesting, because there are agricultural concerns and there are environmental concerns. But largely because the European Union has to diversify its options and these regions are rich in resources, this FTA is going to be signed very soon. In fact, if we talk about India also, then India and Mercosur also signed a PTA, a preferential trade agreement, which is narrower in scope from a free trade agreement, but this agreement was also signed very recently. This tells us that the entire world is also being more and more interested in the global south region, and India and Mercosur, they represent South-South cooperation. South-South cooperation. Largely, all the nations are wanting to diversify their options. They are wanting to reduce their over-dependence on China. They're wanting to counter China. That's why they are looking at these FTAs with different nations. So that was all for this video. I hope you were able to understand all the things that we discussed over here. Now let us look at a practice question for prelims. With reference to Mercosur, consider the following statements. 1. Mercosur is a South American economic bloc originally formed by Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay and Uruguay. 2. Venezuela is currently a full member of Mercosur with voting rights. 3. Mercosur aims at the free movement of goods, services and factors of production amongst its members. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A. 1 and 2 only, B. 2 only, C. 3 only, or D. 1 and 3 only. Please attempt this question and provide your answers in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.